many of you have ever struggled to get good grades in school? Has anybody ever been humiliated when learning something new? And how many of you just survived middle and high school? Anybody here? Okay, so why does that happen? Why is it such a struggle? Is in our society we focus on what's wrong with somebody. We focus on their weakness, we don't focus on their strength. Someone's got all A's and they've got a D. What does everybody focus on? The D. The thing that creates the greatest challenge, that's probably insignificant in their life, and that creates the most pain for them. See, our school system is set up in a very left brain approach, which is reading, writing, arithmetic, follow the rules, stay in the lines, please the teacher. But what if you're a right brain genius and you're social and intuitive and you're a great athlete, you're creative, you're artistic, you're a multitasker? Then school could have been a struggle. But what if we reversed that system? And now in school, they were learning the prologue to Romeo and Juliet to a rap jam back and forth in the class. Everyone's really getting it on, you know? Or learning multiplication tables from pattern recognition. Imagine a cell phone here, 1, 2, 3, how the numbers are set up, and they're jumping on 7 times 8 is 56, 6 times 6 is 36. And they're doing that on a twister board, and they're all screaming out the numbers as they're doing them, and they're physically getting involved. Now all the right brain kids are going, yes, this is awesome, and the left brain kids are going, you are freaking me out, just give me a book. So what is it in our society that makes this happen? And people have asked me over the last 28 years, how do you do it? How do you take DE students and make them AB students? Not in a year, not in a week, in hours or minutes. How do you do it? Well, I do it through a few different things. First of all, is I focus on the strengths. Everyone in my group is a genius. And then I work with the emotional component of learning, meeting them where they are, physically, emotionally, mentally. And then I have them encouraged to have an experience of their greatness by focusing on their strengths and teaching them how to learn. So instead of talking about it, I just want to tell you stories. How did it happen? What happened in a moment, in a minute, in a few hours? So I've got this one student, she's goth, and she's in this black outfit, and she comes in and she's all turned in this public workshop, and she sits down and she's not engaging with anybody. Now I'm teaching them how to memorize 20 words, forwards and backwards in 2 minutes. Nobody believes they can do it. So I know she's got it. And I always take the weakest, the most troubled, the toughest student, and I make them the hero. So when I came to her and I said, hey, can you give me the 20 words? She was not going to do it. I said, well, let me start you. Nope, she wasn't going to do it. So I had to now meet her where she was. So I got down and I said, whisper to me. So she whispered one by one, and I screamed the words out to the room, and she gets all 20 words. The next week she comes back into the class. She's sitting here talking like this to everybody, not in goth clothes anymore, in regular, vibrant clothes. And my trainers are going, how did that happen? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Meeting her where she was. Then we got Ramon. Ramon in East Palo Alto, dubbed the murder capital of the US due to gangs. He's the toughest, most angry kid. Everybody tells me, watch out for Ramon. Well, Ramon is those things. He is disruptive, but he's funny, and he's got all these strengths that I'm seeing. So I said, hey, Ramon, could you stay after class? I want to talk to you for a minute. And everyone's like, whoa, Ramon. So he comes out, and he stands up, and he just looks at me like, here we go. And I said, Ramon, I said, do you see what leadership potential you have? And he looks at me like, what? And I said, don't you see how everybody looks to you before they react? When you crack a joke, everybody laughs. They look to you for what to do next. You have so much leadership potential. We're so blessed to have you in this workshop. Now Ramon, the next subsequent weeks, comes in and he takes care of the whole class for me. I don't have to discipline anybody. Ramon is now my ally. He's connected. Why? because now we've built trust. And I've helped him see his greatness by focusing on his strengths. Next, we've got this kid that's like picking at his face. He's got an obsessive compulsive disorder. And his mom is just, oh, I gotta give you the cell phone number. There's something could happen to him. And I'm like, it's gonna be fine. He's gonna be all right. So through the workshop, I'm integrating him into it and having him have experiences and having him get the 20 words and all these other things, so he's empowered. She comes back the next week, a half an hour early with her son. She goes, what did you do to my son? And I said, well, what do you mean? And she said, he got straight A's all week on everything. He never gets A's. And I said, well, that's a good thing, right? And she said, well, his brother went into juvie, and there was a lot of drama in the house. And he made me wake him up early this morning so he could get to the workshop today. How did you do this? He became the hero and met him where he was. It's the emotional component of learning. Now I'm in corporate, and I'm working with engineers. Doesn't matter the audience, it's all exciting, and they're just big kids. And so this one guy, I'm teaching him how to memorize this spec. And they've got hundreds of specs that they've got to memorize. So I've got the first third of the spec memorized with him. And I said, we've only got 10 minutes left in this section. I said, I know that you can do this. I know how you learn. I can show you how to do it, and then you'll be able to do it with the rest of your specs and know how you learn best. And I said, all you have to do is ask me for help. And he could not do it. So I also take responsibility. That's one of the things I do. If I can't reach somebody, it's my fault. It is nobody else's fault. I've got to reach them. So next time I go into a group of engineers, I say to them, what's better, to get a problem solved in 20 minutes or 4 hours? And they say 20 minutes. And I said, well, I know as engineers, your self-esteem and your strength and your power comes from your problem-solving ability. That's how you feel great. That's why people come to you, because you are the smart brains. I said, but what if in the midst of your problem, when you get stuck, you go to another cubicle and ask somebody for an answer? You pick up the phone and talk to somebody that you know has been there before. And they looked at me and I said, because your belief is you got to do it all yourself. But did you create computers? Did you create calculators? No. Do you use them? Yes, they're just tools. Isn't the true genius, the really outrageous brilliance, to be able to utilize every single tool available to you, even if it's somebody else? And I had one guy come to me on break and go, you just blew my mind. Now, I've been doing this at this point about 17 years, and I think I don't have a box with people. I see the strengths and I see the potential in everybody, right? That's my thing. So I'm at Holly High School, and I'm a keynote for 200 special ed kids. And I've taught them the memory technique of 20 words. And I said, is there a volunteer in the audience? And I've got this Down syndrome girl in the front row going, ooh, 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 ooh. And I'm like, do we have a volunteer in the audience? Because I'm in a state of panic and my heart is palpitating, because I'm thinking, this girl is not going to be able to do this, and this is going to be a traumatic event for her. So I am casing the, please, is there anybody? And she's right in the front, and she jumps up out of her seat, runs up on stage, is shaking like this, and says, and I'm going, oh, please, get 3, get 3, get 3. She goes through them and gets 19 out of 20. If you could have seen the light in this child, this was her moment. And our teacher said, oh no, her memory's horrible. She can't remember anything. See, the purpose of our lives is to focus on each other's strengths and each other's greatness and find out what that is. How different would our world be if we did that? And to discover your genius, your talents, your gifts, that is the purpose. And the meaning of our life is then giving